I love this movie, guys. People who don't know, The Foreigner, 2017 Jackie Chan movie. On the surface, revenge movie, right? Him, Pierce Brosnan, bag of other people. Three things that are great about this movie. I'll mention some other stuff at the end as well. Three top things that are good about this movie. I can't tell who the real villain is. One, the stakes, and also there are multiple character MVPs in this movie. Multiple characters. And I'll go through it one by one. First, I can't tell who the real villain is in this movie. Obviously, there's Jackie Chan, who is the protagonist, but he's also a vigilante. There are things that, even with his character the most seems like the most well meaning. But there are things in his past that make me question. Everyone is morally grey, but here's the thing: he's the only one that seems morally grey, like he's had a dark past. Everyone else just seems like they're doing their job or they're displaying a certain role, and for the most part, they're just a dick or a dick pretending they're something else. I'll give examples. There's an character in this movie, an officer, who something happens. Obviously he's in charge of a lot of things, and something happens in this movie on a mission, and definitely something that's super illegal happens during this mission, and he gave the clear for the mission. It just made you think, whoa. For this entire movie has a lot to do with British and Irish relations. Specifically, some of the stuff about Britain and Ireland's past that represents more the negative side. Stuff to do with I don't want to spoil it, but you'll know what I'm talking about if you watch the movie. You think that, these certain terrorists that are doing the problem are doing the business, they are the problem. But no, they're not, because there's a bigger conspiracy around them involving certain other characters. So then you start to think, maybe uh this officer or Pierce Brosnan's character, maybe they're both into dirt, but they try to justify it in the name of, I'm just doing what I can to ensure peace. And it makes you realize there's a lot of people who are just 60% arsewipe in this movie, and then 30% dickhead, and then I don't want to say 10% good. The 10% twisted logic. I'm trying to help people, which is they do have some moments. I think that's what's so great about Pierce Brosnan as an actor. Even Jackie Chan as a character who plays an officer, but a bunch of people in this movie who are such great actors. They seem like dirtbags or arse whatever you call it, but it does seem genuine to them. Like they're not just muhaha evil people, and I like that a lot. That's what stuck out to this movie. The second thing that stuck out to me in this movie even more, the stakes, specifically with Jackie Chan's character. Context, obviously, for people who don't know, I grew up watching Jackie Chan movies with my dad. Until recently, I haven't really got into other martial arts stuff because that's my point of reference for like Eastern cinema, martial arts, Jackie Chan movies. Who am I? Little Police Story, Rush Hour, obviously. Um, Drunken Master a little bit. Jackie Chan has always seemed like Superman to me. He's just that next level. Him being such a great martial artist. Fast forward to this movie. Obviously, he's older, a lot older, playing a character who's a lot older, 60-something-year-old, and Jackie Chan, for people who don't know, he does this thing in movies sometimes where when he's hurt, either it will seem exaggerated a little bit, or he's just showing you that because they don't want to. It shows his authenticity. Sometimes he'll get hurt, and you'll be like, ah, like, who am I? He does this. I've seen him do this in Rush Hour a little bit. And some other movies, just to emphasize, oh, he feels pain, he's hurt. But it always came across as comedic to me, because that was the vibe I got. For the first time watching this movie, I don't know if it's just because he looked extra old in this film, because I've seen him in interviews, recent interviews, the past 5 years. He looks extra old in this movie. It's not just me. It's not just me just looking at Jackie like, damn, he's gotten older. Nah, he looks extra old. So when he fights, the movie is so serious that when you see him do that thing like ah ah like wince in pain or feel like pain, I'm actually scared for him. That's the first time that this Superman guy has felt mortal to me. Do you know how that feels? You know how much that moves me watching this movie. Like I want him to survive, even though I know it's Jackie. He's gonna defeat everyone he sees, but he's still playing a 60-something-year-old dude who's going through. Sometimes people half his age, sometimes people slightly younger than him, and I'm truly not sure if he's gonna make it. Yeah, there's lots of that in that way. This movie raises stakes in ways that action movies nowadays usually just don't do, or they pretend to do, but they don't really push boundaries, and people will be apologists for them to the day to the cow comes home. Last thing, or third thing, I should say. I mentioned it earlier. There are multiple character MVPs in this movie. It's ridiculous. Obviously, Jackie and Pierce Brosnan. I say Pierce Brosnan as a character. He's just slightly above Jackie for me. Because Jackie felt like a vehicle that was just going through this movie. He had a certain goal in mind. Whereas Pierce felt like a guy who also had this vague goal in mind. But like I said, it's more vague. So I felt like the story did a little bit more with him. Not in a bad way though. Like Jackie played his role, but Pierce was such an interesting character because he just felt like he was trying to convince himself that he was something he wasn't, and he is part of the reason I said earlier I wasn't sure who was the real villain in this movie, or the I guess maybe that's part of the problem. I always think in basic terms like villain hero, but I don't mind that because I like movies like that, basic movies where there's a bad person, there's a good person. I don't mind if there's morally grey stuff in between. And this movie shows how, with good acting, you can seem like you're all over the place, but in a good way, in terms of your motivation and your end goals. There's another character I mentioned earlier again, an officer from London. Interesting character. Certain things that he has people do that make me look at him some type of way like, wow, you really just gave the all clear to let certain people, your soldiers, do certain things that is definitely illegal. Definitely. There's a couple other characters associated with Pierce Brosnan's character who I like. A younger character. The females in this movie, flame, fire. Actually, apart from there's one character associated with Jackie Chan I didn't care about her. I mean, not the female character you think. It's just like a side character who is very vaguely associated with him. Um, that I didn't care for, but all the other females in this movie, I loved. There's two female characters associated with Pierce Brosnan. That's the people I'm talking about. It's partly one of the actors who plays a female associated with him. I just don't know her name. But she plays a character called Mary. I liked her in this movie. I think it has to do with the actress. I don't know her name, but I've seen her in other stuff, and it just felt like everyone had a story to them. No one was just there to be there, with an exception of again a character associated with Jackie Chan, female character. Um, and there was another character associated with Pierce Brosnan, again, female character. Loved her, loved her. Um, and I'm just trying to think. couple men. See, yeah, couple dudes associated with Pierce Brosnan. Everyone associated with Pierce Brosnan was a really interesting character. I loved it, and it just felt like I don't understand why this action movie actually feels like a real story, but there are constantly people having arguments about how this franchise needs to push boundaries more. Stop hoping for it's called a franchise for a reason. They play it safe, or they play within a certain familiar parameter. Stop asking Marvel or DC to be something they're not. Instead of me whining about how much I dislike the Netflix Iron Fist, what I call the Loris Tyrell show, I read Iron Fist comics to see what he's really like. I watch other martial arts shows, Cobra Kai, Warrior, to overcompensate for that filth that I saw. People need to keep the same energy. And this movie, lastly, just reminded me that this is the future of action. It's not going to be, like I said, with big franchises, because big franchises, they have to play in the box. They're not going to, in terms of tone and stakes, and the feeling like this world was very grey. No one was, there's a bunch of people who felt like bad people in this movie. There wasn't a definitive bad character to me. I don't get that feeling watching these movies, but I'm not supposed to get that feeling, in my opinion. They're boxed in for a reason. They're franchises, they appeal to the majority, to your ape brain, right? Not your intellectual brain. But guys, those are my thoughts. Like I said, love Jackie, love Pierce Brosnan, so on and so forth. If you've seen this movie, tell me what you think of it. If you haven't, would you watch it now based on this review? Tell me your thoughts down below. Press that thumbs up video button. And lastly, subscribe. Button's right there. Click, click. Other than that, guys, signing off. Salute.